Welcome to the New Reward Podcast again. My name's Cody. This is Peyton. He's one of our salesmen here. So he's just going to kind of ask a couple of the frequently asked questions, what's good, what's bad in our industry, and kind of see what we have to say.
All right, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm actually still kind of deciding which question I want to ask you first.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll just go with number one. If ChatGPT described your business or New Reward in one sentence, would you trust the answer?
If the answer that ChatGPT returned for me was they help increase the trust factor and the amount of organic search for any type of client, then yes. But the only way for you to actually develop that good response is you have to have that trust factor, which is a ton of different avenues, accesses that all play into that trust factor. It's between your Google business profile, your frequently asked questions, what content you have out there, what's your digital footprint like, how good are your reviews. I mean, there's clients we've reviewed that have tons of reviews, 4.7, 4.8 star ratings on Google, but their last review was 6 months ago. When a client looks at that, they're going to look at that and be like, why haven't they done anything in the last 6 months on there? And one of the things we help manage is that reputation management as well. When you have a satisfied customer or something like that, you're leaving out a golden opportunity to help build that trust factor, especially in your local service area. Because a lot of people, even with searching on ChatGPT, if they do that now or if they do the traditional search engine, they're going to look at what the maps look like, what the reviews look like before they even go to your website. And so if you don't have that basic level of trust through your local community on there, they're not even going to start converting to your website. But if you can build that local trust on there, convert them to your website, the odds are they're going to be 2 to 3 times higher to click through and actually engage your services than just be a looky-loo on there.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you mentioned AI visibility to an owner or anybody really, what do they normally think you mean?
That can be a couple different ways, kind of depend on how they think about AI and how they like AI on there. I mean, there's a big public sentiment to where a lot of people don't like AI on there, and unfortunately with the powers that be, that's where everything's being pushed to on there, whether you know you're using AI or not. You most likely have some type of AI system underlying part of your searching, your customer retention, something along those lines. But the AI visibility, when I tell it to most owners, is when one of their ICPs, their ideal customer profile, actually tries to find them as a service and doesn't know them as a company, the AI returns them as the number one brand endorsed answer on there. So when somebody asks Claude, ChatGPT, I need a roofer to come out here. When we say AI visibility to that roofing company, it means they are the number one trusted source and answer to that AI engine, and that's where a lot of their traffic gets driven from.
Okay. Kind of changing the subject. This is under the section of why owners are skeptical. What objection do you hear most often, and why do you think that is?
Yep. There's a big skepticism in this industry, mainly because of how SEO was to start with. I mean, SEO came out 20, 30 years ago, probably. It started becoming mainstream, I think, about 20 years ago. And a lot of the SEO agencies in the past, before AI was a thing, it was, trust the magic. We got a black box of something. You're going to pay us a lot of this money, and hopefully you're going to see results in, 12 months on there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have had that bad taste in their mouth where people have said, I'm going to increase your search traffic. I'm going to get you optimized. I'm going to increase all of this stuff for you. But they pay all this money and they see nothing happen. And it's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And so that's where we make all of our decisions and driven by facts and data on there from day 1 to day 30 on there when you first sign on with us. We show you all the data, where we're pulling it from, why we're making these changes, and the actual increase of that. We back all of our decisions from real data that the clients can see at any time as well. So it's not a trust the magic, trust the black box on there. It's a differentiation of a scoring system that has 12 different axes that all play into your visibility in there. And most people are skeptical because of past experiences, and that's pretty much human nature. I mean, anybody who's been burned in the past, whether it's work, personal, anything like that, they're going to rely on their past experiences to move forward on there. And you can't blame them for that. You just have to start building that trust factor of showing, we don't do contracts. You can go month to month with us so that even after a month of using us, if you're like, I don't like this, I'm going to move on, so be it. But one of our first customers, or one of our last customers we signed up on, they paid for the lowest tier that we have on there. And within that same month, they saw the value and the benefits that it was adding and immediately upgraded within that first month as well. So we try to prove it all by backed data so that the owners can see the true changes and actually see the value rather than just trusting somebody's word on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. In a nutshell, people have gotten burned, and so
And with your background in marketing, where do you think the highest value we can add, or you could add to a client by increasing their visibility? Like as in like a traditional marketer, what would you say you'd be like, this is the first thing I would do for a client?
oh, probably just tell them like you want to sell them on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to really the enthusiasm within your voice and the way you talk about how you're selling your product and your service or whatever you're doing. Like you got to give them the confidence like, hey, this is going to be the best and hopefully the last marketing company you ever work with.
Yeah.
And that's our goal.
Yeah.
Like we're not some large agency and you're never going to like actually have any, at least maybe not in-person interaction, but like we're going to be talking if you like weekly, monthly, you choose the cadence.
More personal.
It's a personal relationship, and there are huge pros to working with a smaller firm. I mean, there's a lot. I can go into like the features and benefits of things, but that'd probably be the number one thing is just me as a marketer salesman. I have to be sold on my own product and service before going out and selling it.
Mm-hmm.
They can feel it within the conversation if I'm confident that
Yeah.
they're going to get the results that I'm promising.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Tell me about one conversation where the owner's real concern came out.
With our most recent customer that we've kind of signed up on there, he put it in a very eloquent way of he didn't waste money on all other marketing things, but he made about a $70,000, lesson. That can be an expensive lesson, and there's a lot of businesses that make those bad lessons on there because they get convinced, somebody can make something and polish it up, make it look really good and get you agreed to it. But when it comes to put the feet to the fire, none of their promises actually come through, which is one of the reasons we don't do that month or long-term contract on there. Is so that
stuck.
Yep, you're not stuck with us. You can just trust the data and you can see, they're actually providing value, and our way of creating what you call a sticky customer isn't signing them into a contract, isn't locking them into some long-term agreement where they're forced to pay us this much whether they like us or not. It's to provide enough value and build enough value that they see it, the benefit, and they're like, I'm never going to get rid of these guys because all they do is provide us benefits and moving forward on there.
Couldn't live without us.
Yep. We have another client as well that they had another person of their team help with the marketing, and some way or another they may have accidentally spent almost their entire year's worth of ad spend in 1 month. And so one of the benefits to having a marketing agency or SEO agency, whatever you'd like to call us on there, is we can help with that oversight to make sure those funds are being allocated correctly, because this is the space we love to play in and the space that we really know on there. And when you have customers that, not saying you can't do it on your own, but when you run a business, your main focus is that business. It's not increasing the organic search traffic. It's not doing any of that, because all of that can be a mundane task that happens. You have to do it every day, every week to keep it updated. And that's where we take that off your plate to where you pay us a smaller amount, that flat rate that we have on there. And then as time goes on, we keep increasing that organic search traffic. You keep getting more and more leads, and you're like, wow, paying so little for this that they're doing everything. Why would I ever get rid of them?
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Yeah. Um, Great answers. Yeah, I'm gonna go on to the next section.
You're fine.
When AI answers a question about a business, what can we actually look at?
So there's a couple different things we can look at when AI answers questions. Like when we do our visibility audits, we call the 5 major large language models. We ask. It depends on whether we're doing our prospect audit, our weekly scans, depending on where you're at with us. But it's anywhere from 50 to 30 questions per AI engine. When they send those responses back, we take that response and then we figure out what sources they were pulling from. So we know what third-party platforms that the AI is searching to build that trust on there. We also look at what are the competitors they're recommending on there as well, and any other directions that the AI might say of, like, if I'm asking for roofing, it might ask me more questions about what type of roof do you have, how old your roof is, where are you located on there. And so when we see those types of questions AI is asking back to those responses on there, we then go curate specific digital assets to help answer those already. So when the next person asks that question, the AI starts to look for it, goes, oh, these people are already answering all the questions of, like, hey, if you're in this area, you need this. That if you have this type of roof, this is what you're going to look for. So we disseminate what the answer looks like, how it's structured, to then use that as a asset to build your digital footprint and push all of those changes out on there.
Cool. Trying to decide which question I want to do. How about, why should we check the sources instead of trusting a confident answer?
Mainly because if
I actually don't even exactly know what that question's mean. I'm not gonna lie.
You're
What does it
fine.
mean by the sources?
what that's trying to say, I think, is why do we look into all those third-party platforms compared to just trusting what the AI is saying on there? Why do we do the deeper research into understanding where the AI is looking, where it's pulling the data from on there? Is because you have some marketing agencies that go out and they do what you call a shotgun method, and they just send your stuff out as many places they can and get as many backlinks, whatever you are trying to do on there to link back to your site. That can be detrimental. So we make sure we are very careful about examining what those third-party references are, so that when the main source, which is the Chat GPT engine, whatever is like providing you the information, we know exactly where and when we need to input your company's data to then get you to be returned through that main source, which is the AI engine on there.
Okay. Cool. Next section is titled "Why Businesses Get Misunderstood." So, first question on here is, which important business facts are often unclear online?
A lot of them are where your designated service area is, like where exactly you like to serve, where your best customers are, where you have most of your customers on there. The next one's usually services. So exactly being able to tell a traditional search engine or a AI engine exactly what your services are, how much they cost, and how to actually engage those services as well. Like we were doing an audit on a boxing gym. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the boxing gym, but we were doing the audit, and when you look through their services on there, the only service you can engage with them is a free class. It doesn't tell you
Oh.
how much anything costs or anything like that. That's going to immediately ruin that trust factor,
sure.
especially when an AI engine tries to, respond to you. If you ask a question, I'm looking for boxing classes around me, I want to stay in this budget. It looks at that website and it can't figure out how much your services actually cost. It's not going to return you because that user asked specifically for the price. And
Yeah.
if you have to call and talk to somebody on there, it's going to be more difficult. And with the age of AI, everybody wants to move faster. They want everything at a drop of a pin, pretty much. And so if you can't have the AI give you that correct answer, you're going to be left in the dust on there.
Yeah, I think two things to add on that one. It's like us as humans and AI has a psychology too. It's like if AI can understand it, neither are we, and vice versa. Like if I'm trying to look for price and you don't have price on your website, neither is AI.
Yep.
And you can imagine It's just making the lives of the potential customers harder instead of easier. Conversion rate's probably just going to go.
And one of the scariest things some of the owners that we've been working with and what we're moving into is as we move into more of a AI assisted search engine, like when you search on Google, there's AI mode right up there as well. Your amount of traffic driven to the website is most likely going to start to go down in the next couple years, but the conversion rate should start going up on there because behavioral studies show about 79% of people implicitly trust the answers given to them from AI. And if you were any business owner that said 79% of the people coming to my website just implicitly trust me, they would love you because you don't have to build that trust factor. They're not coming to look to see if you're the one to use. They're calling you to use you. They're calling to engage your services on there.
What firsthand knowledge could this business publish that generic content cannot copy?
So the generic type of content you would look at is, very structured, like templates for your web pages, for schema on there, for type of content going out there as well, to where your generalization isn't going to be targeting your ICP on there. The way we work with all of our clients is we understand and we do a deep analysis each week of who they are, what their best customers are, and who converts best for them. And then we start creating that specialized content for each client on there rather than just having a generalized set of rules that we use for every client. So if we have two clients, even in the same space, say we have two alcohol and detox centers on there, right? We are going to be pushing out different assets for each of those because we tailor it through our AI agents to specifically target that client and what they are good at. And just because you play in the same space doesn't mean you guys are still targeting the same customers on there. Everybody has their own little niche to where, like if you're doing
A niche within a niche.
Yep, pretty much. And so, like, if you're selling cars, right? There's tons of different car dealerships. There's ones like you have your Chevy dealership. You got new ones, used ones. But if you're gonna buy a Lamborghini, you don't go to a Chevy dealership, right? You go to the Lamborghini store, the Ferrari store on there. And so, I mean, there's both in the car industry. But if we were doing a Chevy dealership and a Ferrari dealership, the assets we're putting out and the people we're targeting, the channels we're going into are going to be wildly different because their customers are wildly different on there as well. And so the benefit with New Reward is we help target and tailor a specific plan to your needs rather than just having a generalized plan out there.
Very cool. I'm going to go on to the next section. This one is the demo. What do we put on the screen first and why?
So, actually, I don't know if I want to show one, but so what we first start doing is when we do our demo, we run a complete audit on the client. So we start out with the SEO audit. We have a couple different providers we use for that, as well as our AI agents in there. It understands where your keywords are, your page speed, your backlinks on there as well, and a couple different things as well to understand how good your SEO score is on there. We then go into what your AI readiness is. And AI readiness is going to be different than what your AI visibility is. AI readiness is how well is all of your data and your digital footprint structured so that AI can actually return you as an answer. If you don't structure it in the right way, AIs are very resource conscious, so they don't want to have to spend lots and lots of tokens to return answers. So the quicker you can give an AI the answer to return to the user, the easier that is. So we look into how all of your website structured. Where's your social medias? Where anything, how's your crawlability? Do you have a robots file? Are you blocking crawlers on there as well? There's tons of different factors that go into that AI readiness. Once we understand that and we get that good score, we then go into what we call our AI visibility, which we then do deep research, understand who you are as a client, understand who your ICP is, your ideal customer profile. We then step into ICP's shoes and start asking those questions from one of your potential customers on there. One of the other ways we help do that prompting is we track what areas our clients are in and what's being searched in all of those AI engines as well. So what are the most popular prompts that are being asked in there? What is everybody asking on there as well? So we have a blend of using, traditional ICP questions and then what the actual data shows is everybody's asking as well to understand what the AI visibility is. Once we understand all three of those, we can then create the game plan of here's your first top 3 priority fixes. These are the biggest ones that'll have the impact on there, and then they expand upon into sub bullet points on there as well. And the benefit with us is it's not set it and be done. Unfortunately, in this industry, it's something you have to stay on top of. And like you were saying, we either contact every week or every month. It's just dependent on how much time the client has. Most of ours for the first week or first month, they like us to call every month so we can build that trust with them. So they know, these guys know what they're doing finally, because we won't push assets to your website. We won't push anything out on the social media until we get approval from you on there as well. We don't like to overstep our boundaries, overstep our permissions, and push things out without the client's permission, because ultimately we want to go in the way that the client wants their company to go and what they want to target on there.
Cool. How do we choose the first fix of giving the owner a giant checklist? I guess you kind of answered it just now, but I guess we have to elaborate on this question, maybe go a little bit deeper. Like we have, for the most part, we have AI do this for us. With human verification first, have you ever had like a discrepancy between like, hey, yeah, it says this on the SEO, GEO audits, but I'd actually recommend doing this first. Has that ever happened?
Not really, because what we've built is we don't just go into ChatGPT and say, hey, go audit this on there. We've built agentic or recursive loop learning on there and built specific skills to go and audit this on there. And so we don't pick and choose what fixes we want to do on there. We figure out what all the fixes are, and then from our experience and what we have seen that has helped other clients first, we disseminate which fixes are actually going to have the most valuable impact now and which ones will have a smaller impact. Because the smaller impacts are still, we're still going to do those, but we'd rather focus on grabbing the 70, 80% of what we need to fix to start with, get you up and going. And then as we do that, we can keep refining it more and more as the clients keep working with us on there.
And what is it typically? Is there typically like, oh, everybody's missing this first thing?
It's not. I mean, I'm sure a couple of years ago it probably was, but with how much stuff you can do, self-development, all that type of stuff, and the access everybody has now, it can be different, and we have tons of clients in different types of industries as well. I mean, we have an alcohol and detox, we have a roofing company, we have a dog.
Depends on the industry, maybe.
Yeah, and so it's all dependent on the industry on there. Some people have really good websites built, and they just don't have enough content out there to have a big digital footprint to have the AIs trust them. Yeah. Some people have it reverse, and we have yet to see an actual pattern of like everybody has this problem. And that's why we went into the more personalized plans and moving forward, so that it's not just a generalized thing, because one thing that might work for one client might not work for the other. And the last thing we want to do is recommend something that we're not confident in that's going to work.
Yeah, I think I don't think I've seen an AI visibility score above a 40. I mean, I think it's probably safe to say everybody has their AI visibility is pretty poor, but for maybe different reasons.
Mm-hmm. It's all for different reasons, and the other thing is it's such a brand new
40 out of 100 to be clear.
Yeah, brand new industry on there, that with how often AI models change as well, that what we were doing last week might not be the thing we want to do this week. And so we have an AI agent that goes out and checks every day what's the newest, what's the greatest thing in this space to keep everything moving forward on there as well.
Yeah.
So it's something that's a constantly evolving and changing industry, to where if you want to be on top of that, you need somebody who is going to be watching that every day and updating those. Because if you do want to try to do that on your own, not only do you have to do those updates every week, but you have to stay on top of the news. You have to stay on what's going on, what's coming out, what's the newest and greatest thing out there in AI.
Yeah, for sure. Last question. Who is a good fit for this company and who is not a good fit for this company, and why?
Mm-hmm. So companies that wouldn't be a good fit are where they have like a stranglehold in our market. So say it's a specific type company that makes specific type of machines, and there's 2 or 3 manufacturers of those machines in the entire country. They're probably not actually fighting for leads. They have probably an abundance of leads, and they don't need more organic search traffic. So if you have a pigeonhold or a stronghold on your actual market and your clients on there, it wouldn't be a good fit, because if you don't have competitors for them to go to, what's their options? They're just not going to get what they need. The ones that are most benefit from this are your local service businesses, to where you look it up and there's a list of 100 businesses that all do the same thing. And so now you're having to compete and try to figure out, how do you get above those guys? How do you rank above those? And a lot of those industries too, those smaller businesses that might have 1-2 locations are having to compete with nationwide companies too. They have a lot more money behind them as well, which is why a lot of our focus for local services is their local service trust on there. Because with a bigger company and they're expanded out so far, they can't have every single market be pigeonholed for themselves. But if we can find businesses with 1, 2, 3 locations, even maybe up to 5, that's where we can really start drilling down on the local service trust factor on there and increasing those leads on there. So it's really, if a business has little to no competition, they're not going to be a fit for us. But if your business has some of the highest competition and you're always competing against other businesses, those would be the best fit for us on there.
Yeah. Well, sweet.
Sweet. Any lingering questions you've had about AI visibility, new reward, anything like that in the past couple weeks or so?
No, not really. Well, I mean, I could probably come up with some. Not off the top of my head. Like, there's definitely been some questions and demos people have asked, and I'm just grateful you and James have been on as well, and for your expertise. So I'd have to go back and find out what exactly those questions are, because yeah, it totally went over my head. But
Have you been kind of tangent? Have you been using the GPT 5.6 model yet? It's me, Bo. So me and James, the founders of New Reward, and then Jason as well with us. He's the third founder, and then Bo's our lead developer. Mateo's our junior developer. We've all been using 5.6, and the level of thinking, the clarity it gives is kind of insane. In my opinion, it's getting a lot closer to like what Fable was.
I was about to ask, how is it compared to Fable?
I haven't been playing around with Fable as much, mainly because I've been reserving our Fable use for our developers rather than me, where I'm helping just increase our revenue, find new clients, kind of doing that on there. That type of work doesn't require the level of effort that Fable can give and the amount of tokens you're going to spend and waste on there. But the level of thinking and processing power and coding power that Fable has is so powerful that we reserve almost all of our Fable use just for our developers only.
Yeah, Fable's been legit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I use for the website and the pricing calculator, and it's been freaking
Amazing.
Yeah, other than that, I'd probably have to like do a little bit more of a deep dive on questions.
Yeah.
As far as like demos and things like that.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to be doing this every week, so
Yeah,
we'll
I
do
know,
this
we should be
again
doing
next
this
week on there and
every single week and
have some more
I'll
questions.
Get some more
Yeah.
questions. I didn't even go through all of
Yeah,
these
you're
ones.
fine.
I went through like 2 or 3 on every single one.
And to be fair, I walked out and we gave you less than about a 2-minute heads up of like, hey, let's go do a podcast.
Yeah. No, I pulled up and was like, let's do a podcast. Yeah. No,
Oh,
but this is great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for talking, Peyton.